Show you something that some of you that are doing some coding and creating of indicators using AI might find helpful. I use Claude exclusively, and I pay the $20 a month to get their, I guess, a more powerful version. I do not use Grok for coding. I started using Grok, but I've found when I do side by side tests that it doesn't match the capabilities of Claude. What I wanted to show you here is that you can put a toggle switch with your context sensitive buttons. In other words, if you on your chart, if you right click the mouse and you get all these context parameters or options, right? You can change your data series and go into indicators and all that sort of thing. Well, what I asked Claude to do was to put a toggle switch within this area. And you can see I did it for the guppies moving averages. And the guppies are these cluster of moving averages, the EMAs all the way from the 3 all the way up to the 60. And they're called the slow guppies and the fast guppies here. And I've used them for probably, well, actually about 22 years at this point. So they've become a good old friend of mine. And I also have an alert right here, and you can see that today is June 4th, I think it is, and a very good day. This single trigger entry right here would have served you for the whole day, as you can see. These triangles are another indicator that I have hooked up with an auto entry, but this would have been a real powerful one. But back to the main story here for this short video. I can just click on this and it'll make them disappear and declutter my chart so I can work with my fair value gaps and all that sort of stuff. If I want to put them back on, I just simply right click and click them again and you can see they go right back on. So that's really a helpful feature. And I don't want to take a lot of time to do this, but I just want to give you folks that are new to this coding what's involved when you create indicators using an AI. I've built I think 35 or 40 indicators over the last 4 weeks, or I'm sorry, probably 2 months, and it's just changed the way I've approached trading. It allows me to eliminate the middleman, the coder, and try to interpret what I want to somebody who's not a trader but he's a coder. Right now, I just go right to this area and replicate what's in my head based on my understanding of price action for over 20 years. And it's just been a godsend. So this took a lot of iterations. It's probably not a typical workload to create a indicator. I would say of the 30 or 40 ones that I've made, it takes on average maybe 3 iterations to eliminate any errors that you might get. This one I think I was up to about 11 or 12. So here was my original prompt, and I'm not going to get in the weeds about this. I just want to show you the flow overall. My original prompt, and I just speak as clearly and specifically as I can, just as if I were talking to a live person sitting next to me. And then I let it, build the code, which is what it did here. And you can see I got a series of errors in the Ninja script editor. And what I do is I right-click. If you've used the editor, you're familiar with these red error messages. When I'm in the editor, this is just an image of it, I'll right-click right here and I'll extract this entire file, and then I'll post it right here. This is just a screenshot of those, and you can do that as well. In the beginning, I was making a screenshot of them, but I couldn't capture all of them, and unless I put multiple screenshots. So now I'll go into the actual editor, I'll right-click, you'll see an option to extract, save that to a folder where you know where it went, and then come back here, and then post it here along with your comments. I just simply say errors, or I got these errors, and then I let it solve it. And then it attempted to solve it, gave me another iteration right here, And you can see I had another comment here that I wasn't happy. It came back and did some more work. And here was another iteration. I wasn't happy. It wasn't doing some function that I wanted. And so I decided to tell it to remove it entirely. And then it, and that's an alert on my chart. Sorry for that. Here was another iteration. And I said it works great, except when I try to save changes to a chart template, I get an error message. Just speak to it like you would somebody sitting next to you. It came back and worked on it again. I said I'm still getting it, so it worked on it again. And here's another iteration. And so it finally worked fine here. But then today I went in and I said, I'd like to put an enable button. I'd like you to put it up on the top up here on this menu bar. Well, it struggled to do it. And here was the first attempt, which didn't work. I got some errors. And it tried to do it again. And I still wasn't getting any toggle switch up there. So finally, what I said was, let's see. I think that was another error, another attempt. And then finally, let's see, where was it? I think it was back up here. Oh yeah, here it is. I said, I still don't see the toggle button on the menu bar. Would it be easier for you to place the toggle button on the chart context parameters that appears when I right-click the mouse button? If you can do that, please create it so that when I enable the guppies using that context enable button, I do not have to hit the F5 key to refresh the chart to make the lines appear. So you can see that I just talked to it in a straightforward way, and it comes back and say, great idea, right? So it went ahead and put the context in, but I still had some issues. The option works fairly well, this is me talking, except when I disable the Guppy MAs and then re-enable them, the arrow signal still does not appear unless I hit the F5 refresh key. This is the arrow that I'm talking about right here on the left-hand side. So it went in and tried to solve it. It still did not work. Tried to do it again, still did not work. Tried to do it again, it still did not work. And then finally, it worked. So it took a number of iterations. I think this is, well, I'll show you where I put my created, I just created a folder right in Documents, Jeff's Created Indicators. These are all my indicators that I've made, all listed right here. And here's the Guppies MAs right there. You can see today's date, 6/4 at 3:30 p.m. If I click on this, these are the iterations right in here. This is this would have been the first one right here. There's no number after it. And this is the next one, and all the way to the end right here at 3:30 when I finally got one that worked the way I wanted it to. So I won't. I don't want to draw this out any longer than this, but I just thought this toggle switch might be something that you find that's helpful for when you're building these indicators. And I don't see any reason that you couldn't have more than one toggle within this context-sensitive parameters that you get when you right-click the mouse. But it's some bells and whistles that really has changed my trading, as has something else you're seeing here. I think they're all showing here. I've got at least the daily moving average, this red line, and also you don't see it on the 1-minute chart, but I have the weekly and the monthly. They are like gold as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, I'm going to cut this off before I get too even more wordy than I already am. So I hope this is a help.